Welcome back, everyone. And in this video, we're going to create the walls, and this is going to be really easy. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've gone ahead and looked at my reference images. I see that I like some of these aesthetics here. Okay, I like something like this, and yeah, this as well. I think I saw another one somewhere. Yeah, this too. So I want to go ahead and create some of these aesthetics for my wall with window. Okay, that's going to be the wall that has the window, because you see the plain walls are plain and the wall that has the door is also almost plain. So my focus is going to be just on this. Okay, so now I go back to my 3D software, and this is my wall with window. Okay, this is where I want the aesthetics. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to select all my walls, and I'm going to delete all the faces that are at the edges here. All the faces, this, that, and that. Yeah, the faces that are at the top and at the sides, because those faces are not going to be visible. Okay, so I'm going to just X delete the faces. The only faces that are going to be visible. Did I delete? Oh, I mistakenly deleted. I need to deselect this and this. Okay, yeah. Now I X and delete the faces, because the only faces here at the sides that are going to be visible are these faces here and these ones here. Good. So now for the door, for the wall with window, like I said, I want to copy some of this aesthetic. In fact, I like this one. This one looks really cool. So what I do is that, see, I just tab into edit mode, and for this, see, I mistakenly extruded. And for these faces, I'm going to select them and extrude them out a little bit, maybe by a value of 0.02. Yeah, this looks good. 0.02 looks good. Okay, and just like that, you have that outer extrusion here. Okay, now one other detail I see is this one right here, just at the base of the window. Okay, so to create that, I'm going to select my object, tab into edit mode. Now I'm in my front orthographic now. I add in an edge loop. Okay, and I just snap it to about here. Okay, exactly. Now I add in an edge loop here and add in another one here. Exactly. Now I delete these three faces by hitting X, and delete the faces. And I select this edge and hit F, F, F. As easy as that. Okay. It didn't take me much to do to create this. As easy as that. Now one other thing I want to do is that, you see, while I extruded, some faces were created here. I'm going to go ahead and delete those faces. I can quickly do that in my front orthographic mode. I just select the top, X, delete the faces, select the bottom, X, delete the faces, select the sides, and X, delete the faces. I believe the faces are gone. Okay, the faces are gone. Exactly. Now this is good. This is good. So the next thing I want to do is to add in a bevel modifier. Just add in bevel modifiers, because our walls are not really sharp in the real world. Okay, select, add a modifier, generate a bevel modifier. Okay, and first of all, let me check my scale. You see, my scale is off, so I just apply my scale, Control A, apply the scale. For these also, Control A, apply the scale. For these, Control A, apply the scale. Now my bevel value is going to be 0.005. Yeah, this is good. 0.005. And I'm also going to add in the weighted normal modifier and change the weight to 100. So this is good. I'm going to copy the modifiers to these two, even though for this it's not really necessary, but I'm still going to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to select these two, select the last one, I hit Control L, and then I'm going to copy modifiers. So it's going to copy all the modifiers to the selected meshes, right? Now this is awesome. Okay, this is awesome. So one thing I might want to do is that I might consider selecting my wall with window and moving this part that I extruded, just seeing if I can move it backward. Yeah, that makes sense, even though it is now intersecting with the faces that are at the back. So what I'm going to do instead is that I'm going to select all of them, okay, and GY, just move it backward, simply because I want it to be consistent, okay, with the remaining two that I have here. So now for this, I can just drag it back, GX, and this makes sense. Now for these two other walls here, I'm going to select the group of vertices here and match them to the thickness of this, right, GY, and just match them nicely. So now they are consistent. Okay, so check the name, wall window. This is wall plane, and this is wall with door. Okay, so the next thing I would do right now is to create the main windows and the doors itself. So for the door, what I want to do is to duplicate these faces that we have here at the border, right? And the first thing I want to create is the frame of the door, if that makes sense. That's something like this, right? And I think, yeah, exactly, something like this. Okay, so that's what I want to create at first. So I like to start from here. So I just select this face, I duplicate this face and separate it by selection. Okay, and another thing I might even do is to just isolate these two objects, right? So I have the wall with door and I have the what is going to be the door frame. Okay, so now I tab into edit mode and I'm in my right orthographic right now. The first thing I would do is to extrude it E and extrude Y by a value of point 0, yeah, 0.01. 0.01 looks okay, right? Now I'm just going to select all now, not extrude it on the Z axis by a value of 0.02. 0.02 looks okay as well. Okay, now the next thing to do is to select this face here. That's this one, okay, and extrude it upward by a value of 0.005. Now I look at it, I think this is too slim. And one other thing is that, I duplicated it from this, so it's copying the modifiers of this, and for this I think the bevel is too much, so I reduce the bevel to 0.002. Yeah, I think this is okay. Yeah, I think this is okay. But I think I can even move this further outward by a value of 0.001. So the total becomes 0.002, right? Now I'm going to add an edge loop here. So Control R. I think I need to zoom in. So Control R. Yeah, add the edge loop, and I'm going to place the edge loop 2 grids away from the edge there, just 2 grids away. Okay, I think this is okay. 2 grids away is 0.02. So I'm just going to keep it consistent, right? I'm going to do the same thing here. Place an edge loop, just place it 2 grids away from the edge there. Exactly. This is it. Now for this, I just select this face, that face, and these two faces as well, and extrude them downward, just downward till they reach the base. Okay, GZ. Good. This is good. Now the last thing to do is to select this group of faces here, 1 2 3, extrude it on the x-axis by a value of 0.005. I'm keeping it consistent with the top. Do the same thing here, 1 2 3, and extrude it by a value of 0.005, just to keep it consistent. And just like that, guys, we have the frame of the door. That's this, as easy as that. Okay, now the next thing for us to do is to create the main door itself. Now to create the main door itself, I'm still gonna borrow faces from here, right? So I borrowed this, borrowed that, and borrowed that, and Shift T to duplicate and P to separate by selection. Okay. Now for the door, obviously our door is not going to be that thick. Okay. So what we'll do is to come to my right orthographic and select the vertices here at the back side and move them GY, maybe move them by a value of 0.2 exactly. And so our door going to be this thick. Well, not quite, but let's work with this for now. So I'm going to select this edge here and hit F to fill in the empty faces there. So the next thing to do is to create, yeah, this is the door. So we're going to create a little glass here and the handle. Okay, so let's get straight to it. Now, how I'll do that is that I'm going to add edge loops here. I'm going to add one edge loop maybe at the center, add one edge loop about from around here. Okay, add one another edge loop here, and add another one here. Exactly. Maybe move this one upward a little bit. Good. Now I select these two faces and I delete them. Okay. Now I fill in these gaps here. F, 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 F to fill in this gap. Now there's going to be a window, a glass rather here. There's going to be a glass here, right? Now for the handle, really easy. I'm just going to, I just add in an edge loop here. Okay, and I select this face, Shift S, cursor to selected. Okay, now I'm going to Shift A. I'm going to add in a plane, and in my edit mode, I rotate it on the x-axis by 90 degrees. Oopsie, RX 90. Yeah, this is what I meant to do. Ooh, why is this? I think I will do this again. Shift A, add in a plane, edit mode, RX 90. Yeah, this is what I meant to do. I don't know what that was. So now I scale it down a little bit. I mean, scale it down a lot. Yeah, and just move it to this side. Just move it here. Maybe scale it even more. Scale it down even more. Okay, maybe up. This would do. Just move it till the edge kind of aligns with this edge here. GX. Exactly. Now for this, we are going to extrude it outward. extrude it on the y-axis by a value of 0.1. Yeah, 0.1 is okay. Now we'll insert it by hitting I. 0.005 would do for me. So your values might be different from mine, okay? You don't have to copy all my values exactly as it is. Yeah, so like this is okay for me, right? Now I extrude it on the y-axis again a little bit. Now extrude it a lot more. Yeah, something like this. Okay, now I select this face here and I just extrude this face on the x-axis. Now, all I've done is to create a really simple handle, okay? No complications here. I'm going to add in the bevel, copy the bevel from here. So select this, select that, and I'm just going to copy the bevel, okay? I copy the weighted normal as well. Copy the weighted normal as well. Okay, this is a really tiny detail. Okay, so it's one of those details that we really don't need to pay much attention to because you're never going to view this close up. It's just going to be somewhere around here. So you see, as long as it looks like a handle, then we are good. Okay, I can spend a lot more time creating the handle, but in this case it's just going to make no sense. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like this, at least for now. Okay, now this is going to be the handle, this is the door. I think I can isolate all these. And for the glass, like I said, we are going to do that in Unreal Engine. Okay, so I'm just going to ignore this part. Okay, I'm going to create the glass in Unreal Engine. Now let's create the window next. Now for the windows, I'm going to borrow the face from here as well. Okay, I'm going to borrow this top face. So I'm going to shift D to duplicate it, P to separate it by selection. Okay, now I select that top face. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to extrude it outward. Okay, so I'm just going to extrude on the z-axis by a value of 0.005. Okay, good. Now I'm just going to add an edge loop at the center. Okay, I'm going to tell you what we'll do with that in a bit, but for now just leave that edge loop there. Now the thickness is 0.005, right? So we're going to keep that thickness consistent, and to do that I'm going to add in an edge loop here and just going to move it 5 grids away. Okay, this should be 5 grids away. If you're not sure of that, what you can do is to add the edge loop and slide it over. So I just add the edge loop and slide it over to the edge there, and once it's at the edge, I can now start to move it GX and just move it 5 grids away. Okay, that's the easiest way to do that. Now I create an edge loop, I slide it over to the right, and now I move it GX 5 grids away. That's 0.005, right? Now for this edge loop here, you see, I'm also going to create a frame here, which is 0.05 meters thick, right? So I'm also going to select this edge loop. I'm just going to bevel it by a value of 0.025, okay, which is half of 0.5. So that's all, okay? Now I select this face here, I select that face there, and I select this face here, and I extrude it down to probably this level, okay? This level, the base. Okay, in fact, you know what I can do instead is to just move it up GZ by a value of 0.05, and now extrude it down to the base 0.05 exactly. So now what I have to do is to merge these two faces, bridge these two faces right here. Now to do it, I can just right click and use my loop tools to bridge the faces there. If you don't have the loop tools, you can go to edit, preference, and there's an add-on called loop tools. Okay, just enable the add-on. Okay, if you don't have the add-on, I think you can download it from the Blender extensions website. Well, if you also can't do that, all you have to do is just delete these two faces, okay, and select that edge, fill it, and just use your F2. If you don't have your F2 as well, you can just select all the edges and fill it manually. Okay, just fill it manually. Good. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. Just right click, loop tools, and bridge. Okay, now I also want a frame at this point right here. Okay, I'm just going to add in an edge loop here, adding one here, and adding one here, adding one here. Okay, I'm going to select these edge loops and move them up. Yeah, move them up to about somewhere here, or maybe somewhere here, right? And I bevel it by a value of 0.025, Control B, 0.025. Good, now this is it. I'm going to select these faces here as well and bridge them. Loop tools, bridge. Select the ones here, loop tools, bridge. Good. Now this is the overall frame of the window. Okay, now it's time to make the main windows itself. Okay, now to do that, I'm going to select a group of faces here and a group of faces here. Now I'm going to duplicate Shift D, separate by selection, P, separate by selection. Okay, now I select it. Good, and I tab into edit mode, my front photographic. Now I don't need the back side for now. Okay, I'm going to extrude it again later, but for now I don't need the back side because what I want to do is that I want to fill them and insert it by a value of, let's say, 0.025 again. Exactly. Now I delete these faces. Now for this I can extrude it to, yeah, about this point. and maybe even scale it. So I just scale it on the y-axis by value of zero point 0.5 exactly. So this is it, right? Now I just duplicate to the other side. Shift D, X, just duplicate to this side and place it nicely. GX, just place it nicely. I think this is it. So yeah, this is our window. Now for the main glass itself, we're going to do that within Unreal Engine. So there's no need to worry about this. For the bevel amount, I think I can reduce this to 0.002. Yeah, 0.002 is ideal for the bevel amount. 0.002. Okay. What's the bevel of our walls? The bevel of our walls is 0.005. I hope it's consistent. Yeah, okay, yeah. So for this, the bevel is 0.002. So at this point, I just want to join the individual meshes together. So I'll just select this, select that, and since the modifiers are consistent, I'm not going to have any problem here, right? So I'll just Control J, join all of that. And for this, I call this window frame. I'll just call it window, right? Now for this also, I'm going to do the same thing. The modifiers are consistent, okay? I'm just going to select the handle, select the door, select the frame, Control J. And now I call this door. Yeah, so that's all for this video, guys. See you in the next one. Welcome back, everyone. Now, there's a few 3D modeling details I want to add before we start our UV unwrapping. Now, the first detail I want to add is in the door. Looking at my reference images, first of all, you realize that I've gone ahead and I've downloaded more reference images because these ones weren't just sufficient for me. So looking at my reference images here, I see that in the door, there's a little frame here where the glass is, right? So there's the door here and there's a frame and then there's the glass, okay? And it's consistent with almost all the doors that are here. Yeah, exactly. Something like this. You see the door and there's a frame here for the glass. But currently I don't have that frame. So I'm going to create that. Now to do that, I just tab into edit mode and I select this group of faces here. Now for these faces, I just hit P to separate them by selection. Okay. Now I select the face here and I add in a solidify modifier, generate solidify modifier. Now my thickness 0.02 exactly. Now I even the thickness and I want the solidify modifier to be applied first. So I just drag it to the top here. Now my solidify modifier is applied first. Yeah, now as easy as that, this is the frame. So one thing I want to do is to move these vertices outward. So I just select this group of vertices that are here and in my right orthographic, I just move it on the y-axis by a value of 0.01. Yeah, 0.01 feels okay. So guys, this is it. This is the frame, okay? So now I just select the frame and I apply just the solidify modifier. Now I can join it back to the door. So select the frame, select the door and hit Ctrl J and save. Now the next detail I want to add is in the walls. So I'm going to select the walls and isolate them, okay? Now I can just move them temporarily. Just move this the other side too, maybe even more, and this even more. Now the next thing I want to add is the skating board. Okay, at the moment the base of my board is flat, okay, but looking at my reference images I see that yeah, the walls usually have skating board, right? Okay, yeah, for this I think this is the skating board and all that. Yeah, okay, yeah, for something like this you see there's a skating board at the base, there's even one at the top. Okay, so I think I'm going to add something like this too. So this is going to be really easy. Yeah, this is one at the top here. So the first thing I want to do is to tab into edit mode, select on my mouse and tab into edit mode. Now I select the base. I just box select the base. Now I move it, hitting GZ, I move it by a value of 0.2 meters on the Z axis, right? Now I extrude E, I move it on the Z axis by 0.02 meters till it's at the base. That way we have created certain faces below here, right? Yeah, these faces here. Now we'll do the same thing for the top. Now for the top, I select the group of vertices there and I move it downward, GZ, and this will be smaller. So 0.1 meters will do. Now I extrude it back up, EZ, 0.1 meter. Good. Now, next thing to do is to select the faces. So I'm going to select the faces and I duplicate Shift D and hit P, separate by selection. So I can temporarily hide these walls and work on these faces. Now for the door, I really don't need the skating board behind, okay? So I'm going to delete these faces behind, X, delete the faces. I'm just going to work with these. Now I'm going to add a solidify modifier as well. So I select one, I add the modifier and add the solidify modifier. And now I drag the solidify modifier to the top and I might have to change the offsets. At the moment it's offsetting negatively, so I just change the offset exactly. Now I check even thickness, okay, and I might want to reduce the bevel amount 0.002. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So now I unhide the wall to see how it looks, and yeah, this this looks fine. Okay, so I think I can copy it to the other sketching boards. Now I select, okay, I can just temporarily hide the walls as well. Now I select these two, select the ones I want to copy to, select the one I want to copy from, and I can just hit Ctrl L and copy modifiers. Now just like that, the modifiers have been copied to these two. So on hiding our walls, I see that, yeah, it is okay, but it can be thicker, right? So I can increase the solidify amount. Now our solidify amount at the moment is set to 0.01. So what if I change it to 0.02, or how about 0.05? This feels too much. Or you know what, I think this can be 0.05 or 0.04, while this one can be smaller. So to do that, I'm gonna have to separate the bottom from the top, right? So I just select all of them, and the ones at the top, I just select them and P separate by selection. So these are their individual selections. Now for these ones at the top, the thickness can be 0.02. So I select these two, select the last one, Ctrl L, and copy the modifiers. Now this becomes 0.02. Now for the base, this can be 0.03. Yeah, this is good. So I select the other two. Now select the last one. I hit Ctrl L and copy the modifiers. Now this is it, guys. The next thing I want to do is to apply the solidify modifiers, because I want to delete the faces that are at the edges here. You know, since I'm going to be duplicating these walls and placing them next to each other, I have to delete this face here, or else there's going to be a weirdness. Okay, so I'm just going to select them and apply the modifier. Select, I click on this drop down, apply the modifiers. I'm going to do it for all of them, guys. Click on this. Good. So I've applied just the solidify modifier. Now I select all of them, and in my front of the graphic I tab into edit mode, and I just delete the faces that are at the edges, the sides rather. So I X delete this face, delete that face, and for these also delete this face, delete that face, select, delete these, and delete these. So now that I've deleted all the faces, I can join the sketching boards back to the wall. So I select this, select that, and select the wall, and Ctrl J to join them back. Do the same thing here, Ctrl J, do the same thing here, Ctrl J. One other thing that I'll do is that I'll select my floor and I'll duplicate it, Shift D to duplicate it. Now I isolate this and I rename it and call it ceiling, okay, because I want to create a ceiling here. Now for the ceiling, I just tab into edit mode and select the face, and I right click and hit subdivide. Now I change my number of cuts to 2. Okay, now I just make sure I'm on face selection mode. Now I insert by hitting I, okay, and hitting I again for individual inserts. Now my value should be 0.02. Now I just come to my front orthographic and I extrude by a value of 0.02. Now this is it. So the next thing to do is to add in a bevel modifier. I change in my amount to 0.002, and I add in a weighted normals modifier and change my weight to 100. And that's all, guys. I have created the ceiling. As easy as that.